I grew up in a little tiny town in South Texas during the middle of the last century. This story comes from there. When I was 9 and my brother Garland was 10, Uncle Tuck McPherson took us to the Texas Theater to see Old Yeller. Our mother did not often allow us to see movies. Drama's a stimulant, she said, and they're overstimulated as it is. Oh, baby, this movie's about a dog, said Uncle Tuck. It'll not hurt them. So we went. As movies go, it was pretty good. Not perhaps as gripping as Davy Crockett, but still tremendously engaging. When Old Yeller got rabies and had to be shot, we sniffled and sobbed. Even Uncle Tuck blew his nose. Later, emotionally drained, we were taken to Buell Granger's drugstore for root beer floats. Buell crept out from the magazine rack and leaned against the countertop. Old Yeller, he said. I loved that movie. Put me in mind of a dog I once had. Name was Fred. That dog could do almost anything. Cut a calf away from his mama, run all night and all day. Good hunting dog. Only dog I ever knew could climb a tree. Dogs don't climb trees, said Garland. This dog did. He'd run up that low-hanging mesquite limb next to the house and sleep on the porch roof of a night. Come along somebody he didn't know, he'd inch down to the eaves trough and wait till they're square underneath. Then he'd let loose a growl so mean it made all the little short hairs on the back of your neck stand straight up. Yes, sir, he was a good dog. Buell looked us over. Those young'uns need a dog, Tucker. They do not need a dog. They have a little sister. Let's see, they got a little sister, a possum, 3 rabbits, 2 banty roosters, a one-eared tomcat, and Rogelio. Rogelio doesn't count, said Garland. He lives at Nona's. He counts, said Uncle Tuck. He counts. Rogelio was a pig. The runt of a large litter, he'd been preserved from starvation by our mother, who fed him goat milk from a bottle after she discovered how difficult it was to milk a sow. For a while, when he was still tiny and fragile, he lived with us. But after Nora was born, our mother shifted him over to her mother Nona's backyard, where he reigned in splendor. David Ortega built him a woven wire enclosure, and Granny, our great-grandmother, who truly loved pigs, made him a lean-to so he could rest from the heat of the day. She and Nona fed him scraps and slops and corn until he grew into a brick-red behemoth. Nona and Granny did not agree on very many things, but they were of like mind about Rogelio. He was the largest, the smartest, the most wonderful pig in the wide, wide world. He was, too. Early on, he loosened one section of his pen so that he could liberate himself when he wanted to. When he got bored or too hot, he wallowed out and patrolled the yard. Summer evenings, when Nona set the sprinklers to work on the impatiens, Rogelio parked himself next to the flower bed and let the water run all over him. His attitude toward Garland and me was tolerant. He let us scratch his back and behind his ears, and he liked to watch us play marbles, but he doted on Nona. Often they sat together on the front porch in the mornings before she walked over to the library to work. She read parts of the paper to him or snatches from whatever book she was previewing for the Tuckerville Book Club. Rogelio has a discriminating ear, she told our mother. He prefers Eleanor Wiley above all American poets, and he does not care at all for Hemingway. Mama, just because you do not like the snows of Kilimanjaro does not give you license to disparage Hemingway. And I hardly consider Rogelio an arbiter of literary taste. Granny read him The Cremation of Sam McGee last week, and he enjoyed it hugely. It was Garland's idea to transform Rogelio into Old Yeller. It required a good deal of imagination. He was the wrong size and totally the wrong color. But after much effort, we got him to grunt and whuffle around the yard behind us. And he even developed something almost like a bark when we offered him a peeled banana. The part of the story we were most keenly interested in reconstructing was where Old Yeller gets rabies and has to be shot. No matter how hard we coaxed, though, Rogelio would not snarl nor charge at us with malevolent intent. "Nona," said Garland, "can pigs get rabies?" "Not to my knowledge. Call Tootie Connolly, see if he knows." Tootie was Tuckerville's large animal veterinarian. Tootie said bats get rabies, raccoons get rabies. Pigs can get rabies, but I never saw one. Why? Is there something wrong with Rogelio? No, we were just wondering. Tootie's office phone was on a party line. By supper time, half of Tuckerville not only knew that Rogelio was rabid, but that he'd bitten Garland, who'd been rushed to the hospital in Kingsville, where he was at that moment being given the rabies shots and hanging on to life by the merest thread. Donetta Dudley came over to condole with Nona that evening. "He'll have to get them shots," she said. "Polly's brother-in-law, Silas, he got bit 2 years ago. They had to strap him to the table. He said it was like shooting fire through his veins. And such a shame to have to put Rogelio down, him being so clever and all." Just then Rogelio himself lumbered up the porch steps and grunted. Donetta whirled around, shrieked madly, and hurled herself through the screen door. "Call Noah Pickett, Granny," hollered Nona. "She's having fits." The phone rang. "Randa, this is Benny Garza. Where is the pig?" "He's out on the front porch," said Granny. "Lock the doors and stay inside. I'm on my way." Benny screeched up onto the sidewalk a few minutes later, a siren screaming and the lights flashing. He leapt out with his rifle in his hand. Granny was sitting on the glider. "Whatever more do you intend to do with that gun, Benny Garza?" "I'm going to shoot that pig before he bites anybody else. How's Garland, anyway?" "Benny, you just go put the gun right back in the car. Garland is at his mother's house asleep. Donetta's in there on the bathroom floor having a damn fit. Rogelio hadn't bothered anyone, and if you even think about shooting that pig, I will make certain the entire population of Repollo County knows exactly what your boss is doing with Lyda Bemis out by the Mile 9 marker on Thursday afternoons, and he will lose the election to Norbert, and you'll both be out of a job." After that, we were forbidden to play Old Yeller with Rogelio. Uncle Tucker did persuade our mother finally to let us have a dog, but that's a different story.